Next up, I want to welcome our esteemed keynote speaker to talk to us about CityCoins 2.0. We are here in Miami. We are here talking about Miami Coin. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome up Patrick Stanley.
See you.
You too, buddy.
Hey, gang. Thanks, everyone, for coming today. It was a really special event. It's great being here in Miami. I think Miami is becoming kind of like the crypto capital of the world, and it's just, we're all here making that happen. So I'm here today to talk about one thing, and that is CityCoins 2.0. We're going to go through a bit of a history of what CityCoins 1.0 has been, and then we're going to talk through what CityCoins 2.0 can be. So let's first go through some CityCoins 1.0 milestones. So April of last year, the idea for CityCoins came up on a Twitter Spaces call. We were literally just hanging out on Twitter Spaces, and we were talking about Stacks' consensus mechanism and how proof of transfer works. And it was proposed that a dev fund could be one receiving entity of proof of transfer. And so the idea was like, what if the dev fund was actually just a government? And you pay an opt-in tax out of opportunity instead of obligation. And that was like a real mind blow, and we decided that we wanted to pursue that. So by September 2021, Miami Coin had been created. It was the first, Miami was the first city to formally accept protocol donations from its token. We donated $5.25 million to affordable housing in the city of Miami. So we're talking about, and that's like, we're like very proud of that. Yeah, thanks. And that's CityCoins affecting the city. CityCoins also can help build protocol, help build the protocol itself as well. But I mean, there's 5,000 people who are getting their rent reduced by $100 a month for a whole year. That's insane. I'm really happy about that. And within a few months, it had generated $25 million. That 5.25 had already been deducted. In 2021, Mayor Suarez announced that he planned to award Bitcoin yield to Miami citizens. So that's going to be happening this year. Right now, just from the Miami treasury of Stacks, they've earned about $500,000 worth of Bitcoin. And so that's just going to get airdropped directly to Miami citizens. And like, what better way to educate people about Bitcoin than to educate a whole city all at once? So that's going to be happening pretty soon. We'll have some updates on that. Thanks. So then the second CityCoin, New York City coin, got activated in November on Eric Adams, the mayor of New York's first day after he won the election. Literally the first thing he brought up on the Bloomberg interview was that he wanted to have a city coin for his city. So within 5 days, our community activated New York City coin, and it generated over $30 million in under a month. So CityCoins has naturally gotten a lot of attention from the press and the media. Luckily, Suarez, folks like Suarez, are sort of like CEO type characters who are just very good on camera and can explain things correctly. So like he's on national news all the time. I've been on the news as well. Washington Post calls it a game changer for revenue collection. When Pomp tweeted about the Bitcoin dividend, which I described earlier, I got 30,000 likes, which if you're on Twitter, 30,000 likes is like really hard to get. So that just tells you we're doing something new, and people are really interested in it. Now that's not to say that it's all been just like smooth sailing up into the right. Like we acknowledged, there's always going to be like volatility with any crypto asset, and we're making fixes to ensure that there's more utility, more integrations with wallets and exchanges, and also more cities being activated and the protocol being fine-tuned further. So what can you do with CityCoins? You can program with CityCoins. You can do anything with CityCoins that Ethereum or Stacks can do. So people are minting NFTs. That book bag NFT you see, has generated thousands and thousands of dollars for Miami-Dade public schools. Thank you, CityPax. I'm sure you're in the audience. That's a great, great project. We also have voting applications like Miami Voice. We have CityCoin-enabled workspaces where you have a little CityCoin, you enter into a space. That's a pretty amazing concept because you're kind of like expanding the geography of a city by proof of HODL access control. It's a little whimsical, but I think someday that could actually be pretty big. And then you can also, soon you'll be able to register namespaces like .mia or .nyc and have your own username with your associated wallet. Yeah, so people are doing, I mentioned like NFT projects, community voting, namespaces, proof of HODL access control. Our opportunities are endless, and we're building traction. And how we're really focusing on doing this is we put a lot of time and attention into the CityCoins Accelerator track that's run by the Stacks Accelerator. Stacks Accelerator has been like doing a really great job. I'd highly recommend joining the accelerator. Right now, I think there's over a dozen teams that are building on CityCoins. There's like internet service providers trying to do like a Helium type thing with CityCoins. There's public safety that's working on creating like an application for public safety, almost like augments a police force in a way. And there's a whole bunch of other things. Like some people outside of the accelerator are thinking about creating a federated stablecoin between cities. That's a very, very interesting thing. We'll talk about that in a few slides. But we want to grow CityCoins faster, right? So we want to be able to vote on new cities. We want to be able to onboard new cities faster. We want to, and maybe most importantly, we want faster, more capital efficient more efficient capital deployment. So $5.25 million for rental relief is great, but we don't want to cook the golden goose. We want to continue feeding it so it lays more golden eggs. And that means like reinvesting back into the protocol so the protocol can help the city itself. And basically like the core direction that we want every CityCoin to go toward, we think, like as a community, is improving the health, happiness, and wealth of citizens in cities. So that's like increasing state capacity. So let's talk about CityCoins 2.0. So CityCoins 1.0, as I mentioned, we unlocked a new funding model for cities. In CityCoins 2.0, we upgrade to a governance token and unlock faster city allocation and capital deployment. Okay, so this is 2.0. What I'm explaining right now are concepts that I've talked to the community about. I've pulled in concepts from other people, so these are not all my ideas. These are just like some of the highlights that I've kind of seen. So the first thing is decentralizing CityCoins activations. All these cities are actual real city brands, and there's a lot more. Like so, we could basically activate any city anywhere in the world with a proper activation strategy. Right now, the activation strategy is it's almost like playing with a Ouija board, where it's like, okay, who's controlling this thing? Like, which CityCoin's happening next? What we want to have happen is like there's like a very clear threshold that's met, and a new city is activated, and everyone's on board. So how would decentralizing city activations work? First, and this is just an idea, you could have like a token curated registry that keeps like a top 50 that are like in play to potentially be activated. And then you basically vote on these cities by forwarding stacks into that city's wallet. Once a threshold is met, let's say like 2 million stacks, that city is activated. And once it's activated, mining begins with all those stacks that were forwarded, like committed toward the first week of mining. And if the activation threshold is not met within a certain amount of blocks, let's say maybe it's 2 months, maybe it's 3 months, maybe it's 6 months, all those stacks could get refunded back to the owners. Okay, so what are the benefits of this? The first benefit is you have critical capital allocation, critical capital for each new city. If you start with a few $1 million, like $4 million for a city and its related DAO to invest, that is like seed capital for a startup. You can actually turn that into something really significant. That's enough to really get going. The other thing is clarity and automation. So having the clarity to know when you've hit that threshold for a new city, and for that to automatically happen, is really fantastic, because instead of just like doing one city and then trying to decide which city is next and then doing another city, you can actually get to a world where many cities are activated concurrently if key thresholds are met. And these key thresholds, would have to be significant. The other thing is faster activation. We think that there's an opportunity to actually, just like we did with Miami and New York, you can activate a city coin and onboard a city at the same time, or activate a city coin and operate and let the city itself, kind of come to you after you've activated. It's really important to have a system where you can actually allocate capital, though. You don't want to just activate and have the wallet sitting, which is what we have today. We want to get out of that. The other thing is the reduced risk. As mentioned, if the city doesn't reach the activation threshold, those funds could be sent back to the people who funded it. So let's talk about the next. There's two parts to CityCoins 2.0. One is decentralizing activations. The second part is unlocking voting for CityCoiners. So think of CityCoins in 2.0 as a governance token. This is like immediate utility that every CityCoiner would have for voting on how capital is allocated from the city's funds. And what we want to get away from is decision-making at the speed of government. And we want to move toward decision-making at the speed of crypto. If we're going to have crypto cities, we don't want to be slowed down. We want to move very fast. We want to grow at the speed of crypto, at the speed of a startup, really. And using CityCoins as a governance token for a simple DAO would speed things up and get the community involved, which is great. It would give we could give meaningful control to the city, but not overly burden them with responsibility. Like that capital we raise for CityCoins is like sacrosanct. Like every dollar is watched by the market. So if you're spending it only on things that don't also accrete value back to the protocol so that it can help the city, the market can see that and they'll respond to that. Your boss is the market in a way. And then third is just ensuring that the funds are deployed, as I mentioned, into initiatives that reach goals. So maybe if you wanted every single citizen of Miami to be holding Miami Coin, well then you could have a DAO that's like, hey, we're going to do $500,000 or $1 million, and we're going to do mailers to every Miami residents and make sure that it's getting in their hand. Right now, we're kind of like our arms are tied behind our back. We can't do that because CityCoins got activated with no pre-mine, no ICO. Like we did it more similar to Bitcoin, and we didn't give ourselves access to the city treasuries. So some potential ingredients for CityCoins DAO. One is provable commitment. So if you locked your coins, that just says you're committed to the city. And that means more than just like having CityCoins for a day and then voting and then selling them. It's like you're in it for the long run. And maybe the longer you've stacked, the longer the increase in commitment. The second thing I think is really important is a definite purpose. So if you're allocating capital from the city wallet toward anything, oh, that's not good. You don't want to be just allocating it toward anything. You want to allocate it toward increasing state capacity for the city and the citizens. We're not just trying to serve this protocol, we're also trying to serve the city. And I think the other potential ingredient is checks and balances. So having the city have the ability to overrule or veto or have some voting weight, I think is really important. And we should, as a community, talk about all this stuff and try to put it into something that feels right. And so we think if we just like lay these foundations, we can activate the next level of CityCoins. We kind of like made a quantum leap, and we need to make another quantum leap. We don't need to be putting out fires. We need to be starting new fires and growing way faster. And so by doing this, we can have things like app stores for the cities. Because if you build something for Miami Coin, well, you've also built it for New York and Austin and Dubai and other cities because it's all interchangeable. Second thing I think is actually very, very interesting, and I'll probably write a blog post on this in the future, is this idea of like a federated stablecoin. So you have this idea of CityCoins. They're kind of like the programmable ownership layer of CityCoins. You can have something on top of it called like City Cash, which would be like basically like a stable coin that's all the cities putting capital into a pool that creates like a dollar sort of stable coin. I like the name City Cash, honestly, or CCUSD, but that's possible if you have more cities. And then a global governance competition. So just like states in the United States compete with each other for different rules, and they compete for customers, we think that CityCoins DAOs can essentially create new forms of governance that haven't been seen or aren't. Essentially, every city is going to be different from every other city. And so you want to have as much experimentation as possible to see what works best. You might have CityCoins that do direct democracy. You might have CityCoins that do elected representatives. You might have CityCoins that have like CEO as a DAO, CEO DAO. You might have CityCoins that do something else, but we want to figure out what the best way to do governance is. And we're not going to do that by only having 1 or 2 cities. We got to have more cities. So let's get CityCoins moving at the speed of crypto. And thank you very much for listening to my presentation.